Welcome to another episode of Rock the Room. I'm your host, Eric Nelson. I'm a proud board member with the Iowa Rock and Roll Music Association. To find out more about us and to find programs and organizations that we're involved in, please go and check out our link that we will leave below, and also don't forget to like and subscribe to our channel. And before I announce our new sponsor, I want to thank Nashville songwriter Mark Stewart and our other sponsors, Phil and Tracy Lamb of the 518, Dave Carbaugh of State Farm Insurance, and Bill Hillman of the Depot Deli and Lounge for making the last episode possible. This episode is being sponsored by Scott Wilson of the Green Tree Company. From small tree pruning to large tree and stump removals, they've got you covered. They got the equipment and the staff to do the job right the first time at an affordable price. I used to work for the Green Tree Company as a certified arborist, and as a former employee and a current customer, I can guarantee that they're going to do a good job for you. So if you have any concerns about your trees or anything, just give them a call and they'll get you covered. I also need to say a couple of thank yous to Rick Hilliard and No Injustice, fellow rocker friends of mine, and they make everything look and sound so great on the show. And also need to give Zach Jones a special thanks. He's an amazing artist from Malvern, Iowa, and he's kind enough to let us use his space, this beautiful space that he created that has become to be known as the Art Church. It's a staple in Malvern. And Zach and his family and some other community leaders have worked really hard over the last few years to make Malvern a destination and a place that's really rich in art and music. So we appreciate that. My kind of place, my kind of people. So with that being said, there's really not a whole lot more to do but to introduce our musical guest tonight. So I will go ahead and do that. Right here we got Corey Stroud, we got Carrie Ann Buchanan, and their Wonder Twin Powers activate, and they make the band VVilloughby, or duo VVilloughby. So welcome aboard.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And it was nice. I got to see you here a couple months ago. It was real brief, we talked, but at the KMA live radio show.
Yeah.
It was a lot of fun.
For the Wabash warm-up. Yeah, and the Admiral Trail. That is a lot of fun. They've been doing that a lot of years now, and I've been a part of it every year. Phil over here, he's been a part of it every year.
Yeah, we're happy. We're happy that we got asked back. We kind of just walked into it last year as spectators, and they're like, "Get up on stage," and we're like, "Oh, "Okay."
Yeah, cool. Oh yeah, yeah. So. That's a real welcoming group all around. Really good group of people. Get a lot of stuff done too. So this is kind of like a homecoming for me and you because I first met you in Malvern.
Yes.
And you were playing with the Shinies with Teacup, and I was playing with B-Side 3.
Yes.
And we played at the same art show together.
Yes.
So yes, and I've got to know you a little bit better since then. And Corey, this is our first real, other than like a handshake and a how you doing. You know, we've never really talked. And by the way, I hear it's your birthday today.
It is. It
well,
is.
Happy birthday.
Thank you.
Yeah, you know, you got to be embarrassed. We're going to have people come in and sing and clap.
Okay.
No.
And birthday cake, you know, is that cool? No, so no, thank you for being here. And again, it's really good to meet you. Well, one thing that we do have in common is we both met Carrie Ann when she was a Shiny.
Yeah.
So why don't you go back and tell us how you met and how you guys came to be together?
Well, I remember the first time we met was at an open mic in Omaha at O'Leaver's. What do you think that was? 2015, 2016?
Yeah, probably.
Somewhere in there. You know, and the Shinies played some songs there at that particular open mic. So it was the first time I met both her and Tika. You know, and I think, you know, we shook hands and met one another, but we didn't really, you know, get to know one another until a few years later when the band that I was in at the time called the Pink Flamingos played a show with the Shinies and then a metal band and then kind of like a jam alternative band. It was the strangest lineup I've ever played. But we played that show, and that's kind of where Carrie Ann and I got to know each other a little bit better. And then it wasn't too long after that that I asked her if she was interested in joining my band at the time, the Pink Flamingos, as a rhythm guitarist and vocalist. And she said, sure. So we did that. That carries us up to about the pandemic.
Yeah.
And the pandemic kind of rearranged things for a lot of people, obviously, for the whole world. But the Pink Flamingos came out the other end, sort of not existing, I guess you could say. And Carrie Ann and I, we just kept on playing and together and started booking shows here and there, you know, like farmers markets and outdoor stuff. And And here we are with Willoughby.
Well, cool. It's kind of like a COVID love story, if there is such a thing.
Yeah,
So, right?
yeah.
Okay, well, awesome. Well, you hit a home run, huh? Getting a great guitarist and a great singer there.
We weren't really sure when you know, it was early in the pandemic. We weren't really sure if you know, if we were just kind of playing. It all started as like, well, it's a pandemic. Everybody's locked up. I mean, we're gonna just play music together because we are a couple as well. And we weren't sure if, like, you know, when we come out the other end, the Pink Flamingos was going to be a thing again. We didn't know if the duo thing was just temporary, but it's not. It's not temporary at all.
Yeah. Well, cool. I'm glad.
Yeah.
So you guys got quite a few songs worked up, or you do? So if somebody goes out to a Willoughby show, what would they expect? A mix of originals and covers, and kind of what styles of music?
Yeah, it's definitely a mix, and it's a mix between our songs. We're both songwriters. And then we do some covers as well. One of the things that came out of the pandemic is that Corey taught me to play the upright bass a little bit.
Yeah,
and so
awesome.
we get to we switch off back and forth a little bit. And I'd say that it all falls kind of under the umbrella of Americana.
Yeah, cool.
For sure,
Yeah,
yeah.
there's things that, you know, we have a couple songs that kind of skew, like just a couple that kind of maybe skew a little more rockabilly. I used to be in a rockabilly band years ago, and
Or
then
a little more
we have some more folky kind of stuff, and just, you know,
bluegrassy.
Americana's that nice big umbrella. A lot of things fit in there.
Yeah,
And that's kind of where we fit, I guess you could say. But we definitely try and focus on originals. I mean, what would you say? 25% covers out of the things we do.
Oh, that's great.
Probably.
Yeah, probably 75% originals
That's awesome.
and 25% covers. And we tend to choose, with the exception of one song, we tend to choose more obscure covers.
Yeah.
You know, not the ones that everyone's doing. So.
Exactly. Well, we have a band called B-Side 3, and that's kind of why we're called that, because we're doing the B-sides of the covers. So, okay, well, cool. Well, why don't you guys do a song for us? What song are you going to do?
Well, we're going to do a song called Wrong Side of the Tracks.
Okay, and it was written by?
This is written by me.
Okay.
Yeah, this is one of my songs
Great.
here.
Awesome.
So,
We're looking forward to hearing it.
well, thank you.
Warning for those who choose to follow. I'm pretty like a bus not fit for wallow. My heart is porous and my soul is filled with cracks. Watch for signs you might get swallowed. I'm parched and my subterranean is hollow. And after the fray, the footprints are intact. And I always end up on the wrong side of them tracks. Just a quick stop along the way that changes into an extended stay. My storefronts look clean, I'm a good place to relax. Spend a little time in this town. Not the kind of place you wanna lay roots down. You're on a southbound train and there ain't no looking back. Hey, and I always end up on the wrong side of them tracks. Temporary like a fresh fallen snow. One day you look up and you've lost my
Well, that was a great song. So what did you write that about?
So that song is about self-loathing. I was actually in a point of self-loathing when I wrote that song.
Okay.
However, it has morphed into something more therapeutic, because with self-loathing that I was experiencing at the time also came self-realization. And I started thinking, maybe a lot of these interactions that I've had with people close to me over the course of however long, maybe the negativity and all that hasn't necessarily always been the other person's fault.
Yeah.
Time to take a hard look at yourself.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Self-examine. Yeah.
And so that was kind of, I guess, that song, the writing of that song, I guess, was kind of the starting point of then self-repair,
Yeah.
which is something that I've been trying to exercise on a regular basis ever since.
Awesome.
Just self-awareness and self-repair. It's a good thing. So it started out in a bad place, but it was the jumping point to something really positive for
Very
me.
good.
So.
Very good. Well, it makes sense now that you explain it to me. Cool. And you started writing about in your mid-20s or something like that?
Yeah.
Music?
Yeah, I think that's when I started. At the time, I just picked up an acoustic guitar and had a couple of friends kind of show me the basic chords, and I was starting off just doing covers at open mics, and then I wrote a song, which was a terrible song, and then I wrote another song, and it was slightly less terrible, and then I wrote another song, and then I wouldn't pick up the upright bass until a few years after that. But I just kept writing and still doing it. So yeah.
Well, all the songs can't be as good as Clean Underwear
No, that is true.
that you wrote when
gotta
you were
start that
9.
Why would you remember that?
Well, I reviewed our tape.
Oh, did you?
Yeah,
Queen
because,
Hack.
and I was like, I got to bring up Clean Underwear.
Yes.
I'm sorry.
That was one of the first songs I
Yes.
wrote when I was 9. Was a song about clean underwear and never being able to find any.
Yes. Well, and you went on to do a couple great albums, so you didn't
Right.
stop at
I
Clean
didn't stop at
Underwear.
Clean
so
Underwear. That was just a springboard.
And you, at a very young age, realized the importance of clean underwear.
I did.
A lot of people don't until they're an adult, but you knew it at 9, so that's a good thing.
Time to bring that back into the Willoughby set
Well,
list.
maybe we'll talk about it.
So when it comes, I guess, so what's interesting to me then is when it comes to writing, with the two of you, do you guys, now that you're together, do you guys co-write together, or do you guys write individually and say, hey, I got this, will you put something to it? What's your process on it?
Most of the time it's individually. However, in a song that I wrote, I always say that I wrote 90% of it, because the best line in the song she wrote. And it really is. I had this song almost completely written, and I was stumped on this line, and she's like, how about this? And it's my favorite line in the song. It's a She Left Me song, but
Yeah.
she said, baby, you can have the caddy, but I'm keeping the fins. Old 50s Cadillacs with the fins or whatever. And I was like, that's the best
awesome.
line ever. So
That's super cool.
so that was probably our only co-write.
Right.
Was probably that one so far.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think so. Quite honestly, part of it is just not writing.
Yeah.
I really haven't. A lot of the stuff that I'm bringing to Willoughby is stuff that I did pre-Shinies, with more with my Texas band, the Apocalyptics.
Yep.
Because it was a more country and kind of bluegrass feel. So some of those songs that have been dormant for 20 years are getting a new life with this one.
Nice.
Yeah.
Very cool. So you guys looking to do an album anytime soon, or is it still too soon? You still feeling the songs out, or what do you?
Well, right now, we're actually in the process of recording some of my songs,
Oh, cool.
and we started doing this before we knew that my previous band was kind of over with. Now, even though my previous band doesn't exist as a gigging band anymore, all the members of that previous band are still involved in the recording process, because we're all friends. It wasn't
Yeah.
like, and so I'm working on recording some of my songs. The problem is I haven't necessarily figured out how to release them yet. I don't know I don't know if I should release them as just Corey Stroud. I don't, it can't necessarily be Willoughby, because so far they're just my songs. So I'm still trying to figure that out, but we are working on, and she's obviously a big part of being in those songs as well. She's on the songs.
Yes.
But I kind of started that recording project before even Willoughby was really even a thing, and I'm still a really slow process of recording, because we all, you know, it costs money and we all have responsibilities, and you know, this at the end of the day, this is a hobby for us. We
When
don't
there's a
make
lot
living
of other
doing this,
people's
so.
schedules,
Yeah.
it involves
Yeah.
connecting a lot of dots, and it's not always easy, especially with musicians and other people, because they're usually busy working or they got another project going or something. So.
Yeah, but we do need to talk about it, because I mean, the last show we played at a bar in Omaha, you know, we had somebody come up to us and say, "Man, I just love your song so much. I can't wait to be able to put this on at home."
Yeah,
you know?
That's good motivation.
So yeah, I guess. Do you have anything you want to add to that, or?
No, other than, you know, I do feel like like you said, we are still settling into what we sound like, because I think there is some of that residual, well, these were Pink Flamingo songs,
Yeah.
but we're doing them, and not that there has to be a, you know, hard line, but I do think there's still room for us to really kind of figure out what we sound like.
Yeah, and then we're also kind of, you know, beating around the bush about the possibility of adding a drummer to, you know, we just don't know. There's things that we're talking about, and it's like, well, if we're going to record, we need to figure out who we are first. You know?
Well, yeah, and it's best not to rush it, or if you bring
Yeah.
somebody in to record and you're like, wow, I really like that, I want to keep them around
Yeah.
as a permanent fixture, you know. So,
Yeah.
so yeah, that's a lot of fun part of the process. So.
Yeah.
So, hey, before I forget, you were kind of explaining it to me, but I'll let you, either one of you, whoever wants to, tell. So if people go on to look for you guys, it's spelled with 2 capital V's instead of a W. So what was the reasoning with that again?
Well, so we decided on the name Willoughby. It's we actually named ourselves after one of our favorite Twilight Zone episodes, the original series from the 1960s. There's an episode called A Stop at Willoughby, and we really like that episode a lot. And so we decided to call ourselves Willoughby, and then when we went on to Facebook to create the page, and Facebook's like, well, we can't let you use that name, because there's a town in Ohio called Willoughby, and people might confuse you guys with the town in Ohio. Now, we are a much smaller population than Willoughby, Ohio, I would assume. I've never been there. So we decided to do, there's a lot of indie rock and indie pop musicians over the course of the past decade or so that have been throwing like weird letters, you know, in there, like the band Churches, for example. And we're like, well, let's do the trendy thing and do 2 capital V's instead of a W. That way, Facebook will let us have our, you know. And the problem
really
is,
cool.
we always have to say, well, we're pronounced Willoughby, not VVilloughby.
Yeah, VVilloughby.
But yeah, 2 capital V's.
Did I stutter?
ILLOUGHBY. So.
Yeah, okay, cool. Well, there you have it. There's the explanation. Okay, well, one thing I did want to bring up, and if there's anything else you wanted to bring up before you take us out on another song, feel free to, but I wanted to mention, you told me that you took some lessons from Todd Dickey after you saw the Mercuries. That's what inspired you to play the upright bass.
Yep.
And it's just really cool. Rick just took that guitar and got it back from Larry Dunn today.
Yeah.
And Larry's such a great guy. And the Mercuries are actually being inducted into the Iowa Rock and Roll Hall of Fame this year with the class of 2023. So I just thought that was a perfect time to bring that up, because I know you have a connection with them. And
I do. Honestly, I'll say this. It's the truth. If it weren't for the Mercuries, I probably wouldn't be playing music.
No kidding.
Not at this capacity. I'd probably still be doing covers at open mics with acoustic guitar.
Oh man, that's so cool. Well,
so, yeah.
You hear that, guys.
They mean a lot.
I know they really appreciate that. That's the biggest compliment you could
That
give.
band means so much to me.
Oh, well,
Yeah.
that's super cool.
Yeah.
Well, I think we should take it out on that note, unless you have something else that you really want to talk about, projects coming up or anything anyone needs to be looking for.
No, we're playing Winefest and
Cool.
Winestock,
Right-
excuse me.
right on, yes, yes.
Edit. We're playing.
Edit. Don't mind.
No, we actually have a lot of shows coming up this spring and summer. So yeah, just check us out on Facebook with the 2 capital V's.
Right on. We'll do for sure. So Carrie, you're gonna take us out with one of your songs?
Yes.
Okay, and what's that song?
This song is called Gone.
Gone.
Actually, no, it's called But Now You're Gone.
Okay.
When I joined the Pink Flamingos, all of their songs kind of had a heartbreak bent to them. In fact, Corey has a song called Gone, and then there was another song that was
Long Gone.
Yeah.
So I thought it was a prerequisite to join the band. So I wrote this song, which is kind of a joke, but kind of not, because it was kind of like, oh, and I needed a prompt, and so the song came out of that.
Awesome. Well, I'm looking forward to hearing it.
Awesome. Thanks.
And thank you guys so much for coming on and doing this. I really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Oh, thanks for having us.
All right.
We appreciate it.
Yep. Take care, guys.
All right.
You got me flowers. You held my hand through the darkest hours. You gave me love, love, love I cannot see. Our love still inside of me. But now you're gone, 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 and that's let me really. Tell me what were you thinking when you went away? And I know you left too soon. 'Cause I know you still think of me when you see me. You brought me hope. You brought me light. You held my hand through the darkest nights. You gave me love, love, love when none was to be found. You caught me gently before I hit the cold ground. But now you're gone, 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 and that's let me really. Tell me what were you thinking when you went away? And I know you left too soon. 'Cause I know you still think of me when you see me. You brought me home. You made me feel. You made my world feel solid in me. And you gave me love, 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 but now you're gone. And I can't catch my breath.